We're here to talk today to Lyle Tollefsrud and Jim Overocker. They were here to present a Rotary Ethics Workshop to high school kids from both Willmar and New London Spicer. Jim, how do you think it went today?
Well, I think the workshop was it was very well attended. We had 66 students. They were all very engaged. Normally when we do the workshop, we'll have a table or two that are a little weaker and meeker perhaps, but today all the students were very, very well engaged, so I think it went pretty well.
What made you decide to do this as a third career, second career?
Maybe far more than three as far as the careers are concerned, but 6 to 8 years ago in Eagan Rotary, I was responsible for the administration for our workshop and did it for a couple years and developed kind of a passion for the students and the message that we're able to bring through this workshop. I feel that our generation has not done a particularly good job of representing ourselves from an ethical point of view. We have way too many of us that are headlined in the newspapers and whatnot. So I decided to form a committee and try to take the program that we've done in Eagan for many years and bring it to a much broader audience. And so far we've been able in the last 4 years to bring it to over 1,200 high school students outside of Eagan. So we're very proud of that.
Lyle, as you do this, what's the most exciting part about doing it?
The simulation exercise where the students get to put to use what we've taught them in the morning so that they can actually get into a business case with multiple ethical dilemmas, if you will, and have to wrestle with the business decisions, the ethical decisions, and come to conclusions and get up and present in front of a group. It gives the students just a real opportunity to experience real life situations and have to make decisions, be responsible for those decisions, and be confident in the actions that they've chosen.
I know that my group, you said it would be a struggle at the beginning for them, but as time went on, they're becoming more comfortable and more willing to talk about some of the issues. Is that what you usually find?
Absolutely. Yeah, they do struggle at the beginning. I mean, we're putting them in a tough situation. We're asking them to be senior officers in a corporation. They're not particularly familiar with that. They're being bombarded with a host of issues and a host of problems. So they've got to sort out, what's really important, that they need to deal with, what can they, put on the back burner, save for another day. So it's very common to see them struggle in the beginning, but ultimately they all come around and they typically come to some very strong answers and setting some very strong and correct priorities.
Well, it's kind of beyond the scope of their experience, isn't it?
Very much so, and that's a little bit intentional in that we've asked emerging leaders in the school to challenge them and put them a little bit out of their comfort zone, and it's a good developmental exercise from both learning about ethics, but also having a chance to be exposed to business and presentation skills.
Well, Jim, why ethics? Why not heart surgery or I mean, that's kind of a question one of the kids asked me today, is why ethics? And they didn't even know what ethics was when they started. So how about an answer to that?
I think to try to answer the question, why ethics, I have a question, a little challenge that I give to folks, and I say, you can pick up any newspaper from any city, any day of the week, and I'll bet you that you can't get past page 1 without coming upon a fairly serious ethical dilemma. Our congressmen, our business leaders, almost anywhere you look these days, we find cases of ethical failures, smart, highly educated people who got into a position and made some bad choices. And so our objective here is really to provide some education and a little training opportunity for the students so they can gain an exposure that will keep them, help them become aware as they go forward, and hopefully avert some of these disasters that some of us of our generation have gotten into.
What's the most challenging thing that you faced during the course of the day?
I think the most challenging is probably the part of the lecture that I did today. It's offering some tools for how they navigate through ethical dilemmas. It's kind of a deep subject because it's really geared towards MBA students, and we've kind of tailored it a bit downward to make it comprehensible by the 11th and 12th grade students. It sort of necessity is kind of dry, and we've tried many times to find ways to make it a little more entertaining and palatable, but that's the subject, and it's important that they get that message. And so I wish we could find a way to engage the students a bit more in that segment of the presentation, but it's really hard because it's kind of deep stuff. So
I think it was you that said you've been at over 1,200 high schools, or 1,200 high school students.
Students, yes. This was, I think, our 20th workshop outside of Eagan. And if we average roughly 60 at each workshop, there we are. So,
have you done any others close to our area?
We just a few weeks ago did a workshop in Hutchinson, and on the outside of the metro, on the west side of the metro, we did Eden Prairie a week or two ago. We'll be doing Shakopee in a couple weeks. So, yes.
As you take a look at our kids today, how do you think they handled the day? What was your observation after seeing a lot of kids do it?
We thought the kids today were outstanding. As Jim mentioned earlier, we've seen in the past, maybe a couple of tables will not be as engaged or as prepared. We didn't have that today. We had all 11 tables presented at the end of the day. So the students were outstanding. They were respectful, they were engaged, very complimentary. So it was a real enjoyable day for us.
In a few minutes, you're going to be seeing students acting as CEOs of an organization, a corporation. How was that decision made to do that?
We were looking to have a simulation exercise that could give the students the opportunity to put to use a practical application of the information that we've taught them in the morning. So we've, working with St. Thomas and their business school and their ethics department, we have selected Pogo Corporation, and there are other simulations that we've tried, but Pogo seems to represent a complex business situation with multiple ethical dilemmas that the students must evaluate and make decisions on. So that's how that's come about. And the way we've set up the program, it's based on a real-life business situation, and the students have the opportunity to study that case and discuss that case among the senior executives of the corporation in two different segments where they're given information and they need to discuss and evaluate and then make their business decisions based on their discussion.
Well, I have to mention that the CEOs were chosen ahead of time. They weren't chosen by the kids, and the least popular one voted in or the most popular one voted in.
Correct.
So.
Correct. Yeah, we asked the schools to identify a CEO so that there is a clear leader. And we meet with the CEOs, prior to the event and give them a little bit more information as to what the day will be about and what we're asking of them as leaders of the group.
Yeah, I thought some of the CEO presentations were really outstanding. They really got into it, didn't they? I hope that people, when they watch that, will enjoy it because the kids really worked hard at it. Jim and Lyle, thank you very much. We really appreciated having you in Willmar. I hope you have a great trip home, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We fully enjoyed the day, and we look forward to coming back in 2013.
We certainly want to acknowledge Rotary Club of Willmar because they did all the administrative work and did all the financial work behind the scenes for this activity, and so a big hand needs to go out for those folks as well.